Hello and welcome to Crafting with the Desmond-Fish Public Library. Today I'm going to show you how to line envelopes and make your plain envelopes look a little bit fancier, with the idea that snail mail is always fun to receive, and especially now when we can't be together in person. It's so nice to get a letter in the mail, and if you're going to send a letter, why not make it super decorative? So today I'm going to show you how to make your envelopes a little bit fancier. What you're going to need for that: some envelopes, and even if it's just like a business safety envelope, some decorative paper. Wrapping paper works really nicely. You're going to want to have a ruler, scissors, glue stick, and a pencil. And I'll show you a method that works no matter what shape your envelope is. So what we're going to do is you're going to get your decorative paper. Let me move these. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to trace your envelope. And I'm going to do this one first because you can see it better. So I'm going to open it up. So it's closed. Now it's open. Let me tilt this more. And I am carefully going to trace the shape of my envelope onto the back side of whatever decorative paper I am using. So I now have the shape of my envelope. What I'm going to do, because I don't want my paper to come all the way to the top, because I don't want it to get in the way of the glue here, is I am going to measure the width of this glue strip. I can see that this looks to be about, it's a little bit under 3/4 of an inch, but I'm going to give it more room instead of less, so I'm going to call it 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch off of the bottom of my envelope. Not the top, but the bottom. And I'm going to make a straight line. Then, so that it slides in nicely, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off each side. Now when I get to here on my pattern, you can see that the line bends, so I'm going to bend with it to continue taking off my 1/8 of an inch. So this is now going to be the pattern for my liner. All I have to do now is cut it out. And there goes my glue stick. So I'm just going to cut it out roughly so it's not attached to this big roll of wrapping paper anymore. And then I'm going to cut it out more carefully. So now I have a piece of paper and I'm going to test fit it. So I'm going to take a look. What would it look like if it was slipped inside? And then I'll see if I want to take any more off the edges. So it looks pretty good so far. So I'm going to slip it in my envelope. And once I have it where I'm going to want it, then I am going to lift the flap to close it and help make a nice crease on where my paper is. And now I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to glue this in. And because I don't want to get any glue on any part of the envelope that would then end up getting the letter to stick to it, I'm going to grab myself a piece of scrap paper. And I'm going to put it here to protect the envelope. And I'm going to cover this whole flap in glue. Then I can just lay it down, press it down, and there I go. I now have an envelope that when it gets opened up is beautifully lined. Now the other thing I like to do to my envelopes, which is also super easy, is to give them a border. And even just a really simple border of lines can look really nice if the edges are nice and crisp and even. So to do that, I'm going to take my ruler again, and I am going to measure 1/8 of an inch in on each side. I'm going to get my scrap paper again, make sure I'm not putting it on a bit covered in glue. Now I can take my ruler and I can line it up with the mark I made. So now there's just 1/8 of an inch showing. And I can take any old marker. I think black might go nicely with this. And then instead of holding like this, I'm going to hold it on the edge so that the fat edge is there. And I am going to cover everything I can see. And the ruler means that I get a really nice crisp edge. And then I'm going to go around and do that for all of the edges. And there we go. We have a much nicer looking envelope that is lined inside. And this works with any shape. If I wanted to do this one, I would do the same thing. I would trace my envelope shape onto the back of my decorative paper. And then key to getting a really nice liner that looks good and sort of matches the contours of your envelope is the tracing and then measuring your glue strip. So I see the glue here, and I'm gonna say it is about a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to take that 1/2 inch off the bottom. I'm going to take around 1/8 of an inch off the sides. And slip it inside, and the whole thing shifts down by the amount the glue is by cutting that off the bottom, and you get a really nicely lined envelope. And there you have it. What it was a plain envelope, now a fancy envelope. And if you are going to do a bunch, what you can do is once you've done your first one, before you glue it down, you can trace it and make a template, and then you can trace a lot of them for the same shape envelope. What I like about this technique is that there isn't that much measuring involved, and you can also adapt it for any envelope you have of any size and design. So I hope you guys all enjoy making your envelopes nice and fancy, and I hope you all get out there and write letters to your loved ones, to your neighbors, to anyone in the community you think could use a little bit of social interaction. And that's all for this week. I'll see you next week on Crafting with the Desmond-Fish Public Library. Bye!